Many demonstrations require the use of tubing. In many cases you can use semi-rigid plastic tubing, but glass tubing is often more desirable, and it's nice to be able to learn to do some basic operations with glass tubing. You can buy bundles of glass tubing with different sizes from scientific supply houses. You can also get glass rods in different sizes. But often they come in sizes that need to be shortened. So let me show you how you can cut glass. We take the glass and use a triangular file, and we use the edge of the file using your thumb as a guide. So I'm going to draw the file over the glass and score the glass. So the glass itself has a small score on it. You can see the scored mark right here. Now you hold that away from you, and it's good to put a little bit of saliva on that as well. So put a little bit of saliva on it to make it wet. That weakens the glass a little bit at the score mark. You put your thumbs behind it, so the score is facing away from me. Put your thumbs behind the score mark and then press with your thumbs while at the same time pulling. So let's do that again. So we take the glass tubing and we use our thumb as a guide and draw the file on the edge so as to score it. Then we wet it a little bit, hold the scored mark away from you, press it, and snap. And you should get a nice clean break. Now the problem with this glass is that it's extremely sharp the way we've cut it. And to make it less sharp and hence a little safer, we fire polish the glass using a torch. And I'll use my propane torch for that purpose. So we get a nice hot flame, and then you take the glass tubing and place the glass just at the tip of the blue cone. That's the hottest part of the flame. And you rotate that. And as you rotate it, the glass melts and it becomes then nice and round. So we'll do another one. So we'll take the tubing and we heat it right at the sharp end until it just starts to melt. Now, the glass itself is extremely hot, and so it's important not to touch the hot glass. After fire polishing the end of the glass, place it on a piece of wire gauze or metal so that you don't burn the desktop. Also keep in mind that hot glass looks exactly the same as cold glass, and so you don't want to touch it while it's hot. It's inevitable though that you pick up a piece of hot glass and burn your finger. If you do so, immediately put your finger under cold water, let the water run for about 10 minutes, and that will prevent the formation of a burn blister. Once the glass is cooled, you can then work it further. Let me now show you how we can take a straight piece of glass and bend that into a 90-degree elbow, or you could shape it into whatever angle you would like. So I'm going to take my propane torch and use that to heat the glass up to soften it, and I twirl it between my fingers, my thumb and my forefinger, and I roll it back and forth in the flame. And I also move it back and forth so that I heat a good section of the glass. So I'm rolling it back and forth between my thumb and forefinger, while at the same time moving it back and forth in the flame. And the glass is now beginning to soften. You'll feel that it starts to bend a little bit. Keep heating it until it's nice and pliable. And hold it just above the blue cone. Then you take it out of the flame and shape it to the desired angle. If you force it, you'll collapse the tube. So you want to move it slowly. It's got to be soft enough so that you can then bend it. So here we have a 90-degree elbow. And we can then shape that to whatever angle we would like for our demonstrations. Place it then on the wire gauze so that it can then cool. Let's take another piece of glass and draw that out to make a thinner tube. So again, I hold it between my thumb and forefingers. Roll it back and forth. Move it back and forth in the flame as well. You'll notice that the flame turns yellow. That's due to the sodium that's present in the glass. So the sodium ions are getting excited, and as they heat up, they give off yellow light. Nice and soft, so the tubing is pretty flexible right now. So nice and soft. And then you take it out of the flame and stretch it. And you get a nice thin tube. And you can draw it out really thin, depending on how thin you want to make it. And it'll still have an opening in it. And again, just place it on the wire gauze or some other metal object so it doesn't burn the counter. So, let's do that once again. Get the flame nice and hot. Twirl the glass. I'm also supporting my elbows on the countertop so that I can keep the glass at an appropriate elevation. And if you draw it out slowly, you can make it shorter. So it all depends what the end result is going to be. So now I've got a shorter pipette with then a narrow bore of the glass. And those are the basic techniques for working with glass. So cutting the glass, fire polishing the end, bending it, and drawing it out. After the drawn out glass cools, we can then cut it using our file again. Just hold it between your thumb and forefinger and score it with the file. And if you have a nice sharp file, it will just break off. Do the same with the other one. So we just cut that. Once it's scored, you can then just break it and you have two tubes, which can then be used for whatever you're designing the experiment for. And if you are wondering whether or not there's still an opening in here, just take the tube, take a little bit of water, and blow through it. And we still have an opening.